Hi everyone, this is AJ and welcome back to the channel. And welcome to my review for episodes 1 and 2 of the new Disney Plus Marvel MCU series, Hawkeye. Let me talk about it. Okay, so Disney Plus has just dropped the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye this morning. Lastly, I watched them and I'm going to share my thoughts. I'm not going to go too much into a story breakdown, just because I don't need to give you a blow-by-blow of the story. If you're watching this, I'm going to assume you've watched the episodes, so there may be spoilers within this review. As the story goes, obviously, it ain't going to be much of a breakdown, let me tell you that. We're introduced to the character of Kate Bishop, played by Haley Steinfeld. Now, we meet her during 2012 and during the Battle of New York, where we find out that she's lost her father, but she's seen Hawkeye in action, and this inspires her to take up archery and all this sort of a thing. And as she grows up, she develops certain skills for fighting, for archery, fencing, different sorts of martial arts and this sort of thing. She does come from a rich family background, but she very much, Hawkeye's her favourite Avenger essentially. So she's been inspired by him to follow. Essentially, he's her hero. Do you know what I mean? She wants to be like him and do what he can do with a bow and arrow and this sort of thing. We're introduced to her family. Vera Farmiga from the Conjuring movies is her mother. When we're introduced to Hawkeye himself, he's in New York with his children. His wife is back home, still played by Linda Cardellini. And he's taken them, he's in New York for like a little Christmas break. He's taken them to see the stage show of Rogers, which is a stage show revolving around Steve Rogers himself. And we catch it during the Battle of New York, that sort of segment of the MCU, and so forth. And, as the episode progresses, you get this storyline of where Kate Bishop gets a hold of the Ronin costume, and she uses that. She steps out in that. Hawkeye has to intervene. Blah blah blah. There's Russian gangs, tracksuit gang they're called, and this sort of thing. And the story goes over into episode 2, where Hawkeye is attempting to get the Ronin suit back, and he has to go and join these LARPers. Live action role players who one of them was a fireman that had gone into a house fire of Kate Bishop's place that was caused by the Russian mob, to get the suit back that fireman had taken, this sort of thing. So like I say, there's a lot more story to it now. I don't really want to go in depth, just because I don't want to spoil it for you, because obviously if you're watching this, you enjoy the Marvel stuff, and you should watch it without any bias, without any spoilers. So I will try and avoid spoilers as best I can. So as it stands, what is this? This is Marvel's 4th live action TV series now, MCU based. You had WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, and now Hawkeye. And obviously you had What If in between. So I can tell you that this series is based on a comic book run by a writer named Matt Fraction. I'm aware of it. I've never read it. I'm aware of Kate Bishop as a character within the MCU and as a member of like the Young Avengers. I have read some of that stuff. Now, when they announced this series, I was like, okay, great. They're giving Hawkeye a story of his own. Finally, he deserves it, because he's always gets a lot of flack as being the weakest Avenger and the least useful and all this sort of a thing, right? But I'll come on to why that's not a bad thing. So when they first announced, or first the rumours started floating around that Haley Steinfeld had been approached about this role of Kate Bishop, that got me excited. That was, Haley Steinfeld is a wonderful, wonderful actress. Whatever she stars in, she's very good. She shines. I mean, at 14, she was nominated for a Best Actor award for a role in, or supporting actress award, sorry, in True Grit, the remake of True Grit, and so to have her as this character, it's like spot on, perfect casting. So for that reason, I was thought, I want to see this. Now, second to that, I like grounded heroes. I like the sort of street level type of a hero. I mean, my favourite Marvel character is the Punisher. Obviously, street level Punisher. Daredevil I like. When you start going into areas like Iron Man and things like that, I find them, although I've read runs on these sort of characters, I find them harder to digest, because you'll have a favourite sort of thing. You might have the cosmic side of it. Mine is sort of that street level, that sort of dirt, grit, realness level of hero. And Hawkeye fits in nicely into that. Now, like I said earlier, I was gonna say this about Hawkeye being the least favourite Avenger, or the least, the one with the least worth, so to speak. Now, that's not a bad thing when it comes to writing, because he's not overpowered, and he's got the family element to him, which you've seen in the MCU films. So you can do a wealth of stuff with that, and you can make a really interesting character. And you've got elements of this in play in this series, in these first 2 episodes. Okay, first of all, when Hawkeye's in the Rogers show, while he's watching that, he sort of feels a bit embarrassed by what he's watching. But when they start singing about Black Widow, it all sort of, it's done in such a way that you feel the sort of PTSD that he must be feeling after the events of Endgame, and what happened with Natasha Romanoff, and him dealing with the death of her and being his best friend, and him having to watch her die and sacrifice herself to save him in that scene. You get a real feel for it there in that moment. Obviously, it's going to come into play further down the line in the series, because Natasha's sister from the Black Widow movie is going to come into this at some point. So I just thought that was very, very powerful writing, very subtly done, but very powerful. It was very good. Then the fact that Hawkeye's now wearing a hearing aid, right? You find out in episode 2 the reasons why he wears a hearing aid. When he's asked why he's got one by Kate Bishop, it's not an overlong, dragged out explanation or anything. It's a few shots of stuff that he's gone through in his time within the MCU, in the films, and it's probably over in maybe 5 seconds. These flashes, these clips, and you understand that there's a level of humanity to the character. There is a frailty and a weakness to this individual who's an Avenger, and that the stuff that he's gone through has affected him both mentally and physically, and it just makes for good storytelling. It's so yeah, the 2 main leads, obviously, that being Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld, they are fantastic together. They from the minute they meet on screen, they've got such fantastic chemistry. I mean, I don't want to see the back of Jeremy Renner in the MCU. I'd love to see him in it for a long, long time as the character of Hawkeye, even as an aged Hawkeye, who's sort of more of a mentor to Kate Bishop. If that's the way they're going to go, that'd still be fantastic. Kate Bishop in herself, Haley Steinfeld, this character, is strong enough to take over the role and the mantle of the Hawkeye character. She's fantastic in herself. They do pick up a dog on their journey, or Kate Bishop does, this one-eyed dog, which is straight out of the Matt Fraction comic books as well. So obviously the episodes are not big on special effects or anything like this, because it's not a special effects heavy show. I mean, I'm sure it will have special effects in it that we're not aware of, but it doesn't have to utilise sort of the flying effects that Falcon did in Winter Soldier, or the over the top effects of WandaVision, or the sort of Doctor Who type of a style that Loki gave you. This sort of thing is very grounded in reality, in, you know what I mean, and the threats that they're dealing with are at this stage very sort of grounded and real, and sort of that criminal underworld type of element. So it's very, very good. Now, I can understand why people may take issue with this. You know, everyone likes what they like, and don't like what they don't like. You know, everyone's got their own tastes and opinions and stuff, and that's what's fantastic. That's what, you know, that someone might think something is different and suits them better than something else. That's all really good stuff. But for me, you know, this has been a wonderful start to this series. I was gripped from beginning to end. I know that some people have said that the story isn't overly good and all this sort of thing, but I had no issue with it, because you're dealing with these you're being forced to deal with, the writers, with these character elements that may have gone amiss other than before. To see the effects of just in subtle ways, the effects that the past has had on these characters now, in like I said, in their mental and physical capabilities, and it's just wonderful stuff. Really good writing. So I'm really looking forward to where this series is going. So for me, these two episodes that I watched are a really big thumbs up. I really enjoyed them. It could possibly have the potential of being my favourite MCU show. Loki isn't, I'll tell you that much. And Loki is very good. They're all very good. They're all very good shows, right, in their own right. But obviously, like I said, I'm drawn more towards this grounded character, the realistic street level type of a hero, and Hawkeye totally fits that bill. So anyway, so this is AJ. Thanks for watching that. I will review every episode every week, just because I can, and why not? There's only, 4 more weeks of it? Bloody hell, then we're on top of Christmas. Where's the time go? Anyway, this is AJ. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, please consider the subscribe button and join me on this journey. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care all, and goodbye.